Okay, the next thing on our agenda, I know you probably will recall, last month we had Commercial Wharf was here, and as I am a resident of Commercial Wharf, I'm going to turn this portion of the meeting over to Kirsten Hopkins, the secretary, to talk about a letter to support the unit owners of Commercial Wharf in their quest to get legislation in order to be able to stay in their homes. So Kirsten.
So we would like the support of NEWRA to submit to Senator Ann Goby and Representative Vinnie Pignatelli this letter supporting legislation filed by Representative Aaron Michalowicz intended to protect the residents of Commercial Wharf. So I know we're tight on time tonight, but basically this letter would support the legislation which was filed to grandfather the residential uses at Commercial Wharf in light of a proposed action by DEP to remove a minor modification that was granted a while ago that Commercial Wharf owners relied on in selling their units and maintaining residential uses in their units. So we think that this is something that the community should most likely be in favor of. And the intent is just to protect the residential uses of Commercial Wharf. So, any questions? I don't know.
Actually, I have a question.
Yep.
So if this doesn't get the support it needs, what would happen to the residents?
So the residential uses at Commercial Wharf, particularly on the first floor, could be eliminated, and so those people would have to move from their units. Now, there are also restrictions in the deeds at Commercial Wharf that require them to use for residential uses. So it puts the owners of those units in a very difficult position. So that would be the reason.
Since we are proposing a letter, does that mean that people can still write their own letters?
Yeah, certainly people could write their own letters. The consideration of the legislation before the Committee on Environment, Natural Resources, and Agriculture is still open for some period of time. The addressees on these letters would be the appropriate people to write a letter to in support of the legislation.
Did you have an email?
Yeah.
Yes. Does anyone have any questions? I know there are some people from Commercial Wharf here.
I'd just like to add to the question about what would happen. I'm one of the residents.
Can you stand up?
I'm sorry. I'm one of the residents on the ground floor, so I'm on the crosshairs of DEP, and it's really, really kind of a scary scenario because you're afraid to invest in your property. You don't know what's going to happen, and you can't really sell it. You just expose it. So we're in a very precarious position, so please help us by supporting this bill. Thank you.
Mary McGee, Snowhill Street. I don't live anywhere near this, but having looked over all the material on the situation, these people are really in a catch-22 situation because it's just a small number of people and it's kind of a unique situation where they got the go-ahead from DEP, and there was a developer who was involved who's long since blown the coop, and I think we've all identified with that. And they are now stuck in this situation where DEP has changed its mind and is saying, well, we don't think this is appropriate now, but they live there, and this is their major asset that they have, their home. And, you know, the courts are saying, well, you know, go to the legislature. The legislature, in some instances, has been saying go to the courts. And they're really stuck. And it's a small number of people, and it's a unique situation, and this really isn't going to apply to anybody else. And I just feel as neighbors that we should understand how they feel, and we should support them.
Thank you.
I also support this. I think this is sort of ridiculous what DEP is doing. But I do have a question that some of the historians in NEWRA might want to answer, because I think it's important. Particularly as NEWRA president is also the president of this condo association, it creates a perception of a conflict of interest, particularly if we had a history where NEWRA had not made condo building specific letters before advocating public policy. That could be easily sidestepped by two things: by someone else signing the letter from NEWRA, and also by showing that this is not an out of ordinary letter for NEWRA to file. So having a couple of instances where there has been a building that's been in trouble and NEWRA has come to its aid. And I'd just like to ask Victor or whoever else knows the long history to see if there are precedents that can be invoked when some people might push back and say, hey, this is sort of irregular.
I'm not aware of one, but then I may have a short-term memory loss.
Well, me too.
No, I can't think of any. But this is a special case anyway, so I don't think any historical action by us would relate to this situation. This is really a Chapter 91 related issue where it fell through the cracks long ago. These people were allowed to have residences on the first floor many, many years ago. And now DEP says it wants to fill the crack by taking away their homes. I don't think we need a historical perspective on our previous actions to be able to say that we want to protect our neighbors.
I mean, it would be nice if there were other units that had, or other buildings that had a similar thing, or maybe generalize the language to say if this ever happened again also. There's a conflict of interest perception that I just want you guys to
Well,
deflect.
actually, I didn't write the letter, and I'm not signing it, and that's why I'm not involved in this discussion.
And
Right.
that's also why we're bringing the letter to NEWRA as an organization for the vote of NEWRA. Specifically because it needs to be an organization-wide decision, not a decision of one or more people.
And I would just like to say, as a longtime member and the former president of the organization, we're a residents association. We are here to advocate for residents. We oftentimes advocate for positions that benefit us as residents. That's what we do. We are residents, we are advocating for residents, we don't pretend to do anything else. As Cheryl has pointed out, she's not signing the letter, but the fact of the matter is, this doesn't affect her. This affects a small group of people who are really in a tough situation. And if people want to raise a conflict of interest for their own purposes, which often happens to us as residents. You know, we have all kinds of official people who have all kinds of conflicts of interest, but when residents are effectively advocating for residents, all of a sudden there's a conflict. I don't see the conflict. We are an organization. We can either vote for this or vote against it, but I don't see any conflict in us voting on this situation.
Were any letters down to Morrissey for the hotel in Lewis Wharf? Were any letters down at that time about the impact on that hotel?
Did we write a letter to Lewis Wharf when they had the issues with the hotel?
Yes, we did.
So that is
So there is a
protecting
precedent.
those residents' quality of life. So I would say that's a precedent.
And that's good, and maybe it should be referenced.
The other thing is, it just seems like it's not really clear, but the DEP made a resolution and we're not sure why. And then they revoked it 15 years later, so they're not really even sticking to, and who knows if it was a Lincoln or not, because no one's really saying where that came from, and they're not going to the original process, it seems. They're just, revoking a resolution, and they're putting all these people's homes at risk by doing that. So, I think that we should speak to that. Kathy?
Hi, I'm Kathy Rochelo. I live at Commercial Wharf. My unit is not specifically affected by this issue with the DEP. However, I feel very deeply for my neighbors who are, and ask that you support us in the legislation and signing this letter.
Yeah, would anybody be interested in making a motion?
I do. Support.
Okay, that's good. Can we have a voice vote? I vote by hand. In favor? Okay. Opposed? So